We have Emily, Pat is disrobing, getting the room together in mass confusion. Well, I'm getting the prefix.
Jump.
Then we have the usual crowd. The plan ahead group.
Just let them get kicking off. Yeah. Not an hour and a half ahead.
Thank you. Why do you think that? Bigger, you know, than what I had
To be the, this is to just show David. That big head was David.
That proves they're
Oh, there they are. Jenny, run at the camera.
No pictures.
You gotta get the new grandkid in. You gotta get the new grandkid in.
Where?
Get the new grandkid in.
Oh, well, no.
Pull up your shirt.
Maneuvers. Everyone's milling around. Nobody wants to get close.
You gotta get a woman out. I tell you. Huh? You can go over there if you want. Just don't get in front of your roof or she'll kick you.
We have been given 15 directions, and I can tell you this. They're redoing everything. I'm practically hanging from the ceiling. Thank God they are not planning an attack.
It's a surprise for you, not chug-a-lug.
I'm going to record now. Don't complicate things. David, it's no time to fool with it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. I can't see her. Dave, I'm up in that chair.
She's still breathing.
It's on. I got it.
You know what I Daddy's up there entertaining.
Can you see her?
For once, she's speechless.
Joanne, it'll be temporary.
Where's your Zoom?
Right up top there. The other one. You want the light? You want the light one? Bring it down low enough I can see it. It's recording. Don't worry about it recording. I think this is it. Hold on a bit.
I knew she was going to everything was so yeah, my God, shit. I can't help it. Oh, God, it's good to see you. I'm just taking it all in. I figured it was like I recognized it. Wow. I am utterly, I'm shocked. God damn it, get life at my age now. Oh, wow.
What are you, Jenny, 29?
Yeah. Jeffrey.
Cheers. Surprised you had it.
You're on your own now,
Say happy birthday, Grandma.
Yeah, Carol's here. I was just talking to her. The problem doesn't make it better be a
Hello there. I'm fine, how are you?
That's okay. Don't worry about it. It's all part of it.
Yeah, well, I'm right here. Hi, Bobby.
Hello.
Where's Joe? I'm stunned. I'm shocked.
And you're getting older.
No, I'm not. I'm getting younger. Wait, did you see Jimmy Silcox?
She needs a kiss.
Yes, I did. Yes, I'm the aunt with one eye.
Over there. Right over there. Right
What would that be? You stand up here and not nose, not smile, not eyes, not ear, not I don't know a lot of people either.
It's a rowdy table next, isn't it? All right, everybody's going on Kansas camera now. Candid camera. Everybody.
Well, he would have some. I guess Ruth, was your sister coming?
What's that?
Was your sister going to come?
Betty? No.
No.
No, all right, here's the table of all the lovelies.
Yeah, this is a beautiful table, Joey. All the beauty.
Some of these people here are related to me by marriage.
Yeah, I know. You gotta be nice to them, right?
Yes.
She's knocking down the water. Thank God she's not driving.
My Jenny story is from 20 years ago. I was supposed to get married and it fell through about a month before the wedding. I just assumed all the money I had put out for it was lost. Jeff told his mom and I was out thousands of dollars. She had me make a list of everyone I had paid. Caterers, photographers, hall, apartment, etc. And within a week she got almost all of my money back. which I promptly spent on a Corvette. So thanks again, Ginny. You've always been very kind to us and very special. And thanks for the vet. Love, Mark. Now, Jenny has one that she meant to write down, but she's been busy.
Okay, well, I was trying to think what story I could tell, what I remembered about Aunt Jen growing up, and I guess the three things that I remember the most are going to the mountains and going to Avalon every year, and what was the third thing? Okay, well, those are the two things.
Remember our house at all?
Yeah, oh, that's it. The dirt pile in the backyard. But playing in the dirt and going to the mall when Mom would drop us off there when they went away for the weekend, and I got to buy any junk at the mall that I wanted. But I thought the story I tell was from when we went to Avalon, and it was probably the first year that the whole family, both my mom's sisters, and all the extended family went to Avalon. And this was quite a departure from my parents, because I don't think they would have reacted the same way. Jeff and my friend Debbie and I were kind of roughhousing in the house. And Jimmy, of course. And I don't remember exactly how it happened, but it ended up with us kicking a hole in the wall.
I had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I think it was mostly Jeff's fault, but you know.
In fact, I think I left the room before that happened.
So we were really scared to tell, and we were like, Aunt Jen, we kicked a hole in the wall of the house we rented. She looked at it for about 3 seconds, and then got a picture off of the other wall, and hung it over and she's like, it's fine, it's a rental. And I just can't imagine my dad reacting that way. So that's my story. Happy birthday, Aunt Jen.
Sleeping in the room with her. Not that she was possessive. My favorite story with her was we had twin beds in the room, and I complained that my bed wasn't as soft as hers. And she said, well, I can fix that for you because I know a magic lotion to put on. Now, she went in the bathroom and took all kinds of things, mixed them together. The primary ingredient being Gabby's suntan lotion. If you're old enough to remember Gabby, it kind of smells like rotten cantaloupe. And it's orange. She poured it all over my bed. It didn't work. And Virginia didn't work for a while either when my mother found out.
Put the microphone a minute there.
It's the battle of the
I'll tell you a story about Ruth. Wait a minute, this is the late 30s, times were tough.
Hey, wait a minute, it's your party.
My turn.
You see what I mean about Ruth?
My mother saved up enough money and bought us twin beds and a nightstand. Not that my sister was scrappy, but she wanted to make sure she got her hand. So my mother buys a brand new nightstand and these 2 twin beds with pineapple posts. Ruth takes a nail file and takes it right down the middle of the table and writes Ruth on her side. She still has the table. When my mother and father died, we broke up the house, we made Ruth take her table.
And my kids wanted to say, but let me explain truly why I did that. Because things did not get divided equally in our house. In that bedroom.
Head for the stairs!
I'm going to tell Betty about this, and she's coming in, and she's going to tell her story.
She had the socks with all the holes in them.
I know. You see, every year when we started school, Mother would buy us each a dozen pair of white socks, and it was fine.
Hers always got holes.
Mine got holes. All of a sudden, after 1 week, I don't have any socks. Then next week, I have ones with holes in them. Her feet were bigger than mine. But they did come back again. So I went out and I bought a rubber stamp that said Ruth Shirley Dangler, and I stamped all my clothes in indelible ink. And that was our basic trust system that we had. I was always able to travel because I carried identity right on all my underwear. Now, I'll tell Betty's story.
Uh-oh.
Betty said hers,
Because when Betty was
That's my older sister.
Rick, her oldest husband, we were sitting, Mother and Betty and I were in the living room. Virginia was upstairs, and Rick came in, and we were sitting talking, and we hear this wailing. I don't know how many of you really have ever heard Virginia really cry, but it is, fire alarms have been known to be stifled by it. When she is really, something really hits her. So this wailing's coming from upstairs, and Rick said, "What the hell was that? What's going on?" And we said, "Oh, it's Virginia, leave her alone." And it continues on and on. And so he finally says, "I can't take it anymore. I'm going upstairs." And he comes down and he says, "She's reading a book." And I said, "Cora died. It's the last of the Mohicans." Life was never
She should have
dull.
been there at the Five Little Peppers.
Now let's see. I have about 4 more hours of stories to go. We had a lot of water fights. Virginia was always playing fair. She used hot water.
The second story window.
Now you know why her family and my family are a lot different. Happy birthday, June. It's been an adventure.
And we worked together down at Alden Park Apartments down in Germantown. My mother could always tell on a day when Ginny worked. She wasn't, you weren't full-time, were you?
I only came in 3 days a week.
She could tell because I'd come home and I'd be talking a whole lot louder, and my mother'd go, "Did Ginny work today?" A lot of my stories, when Jeff and Joanne said, you know, we're looking for good Ginny stories, I had them going through my head. I have hundreds. Not too many of which I can share with all of you. But the one thing, Ginny has been a friend, an advisor. She's given me baby advice, although not very good, because when my twins were spitting food out...
Look at us. You ask, you never know what you're going to get. You listen to her.
When my twins were spitting food out, I kept saying, "Why? How do you get them to stop?" And Ginny said, "Have you seen my kids? They never spit food out." Got close, they ate it. But Ginny and I, the 3 days a week she worked, I lived in Feasterville, she lived in Ben Salem. We kind of used to, just a little race to get home. And we drove the boulevard for 17 miles. And after you do that for a number of years, you learn how the lights are timed, which lanes are faster given, 5 or 10 minutes. And we used to, it was neck and neck for most of the time, except for every now and again when an emergency vehicle would come by, like an ambulance or a fire truck or a police car, somehow Ginny would just get right behind them. Everybody was clearing out of the way, and she's just looking at me. So that was probably one of my better ones I could share with you. I couldn't ask for a better friend.
Thank you, Carol.
A good friend ever since I met Jerry. And I know she's gone through a lot of hard times, but she's come through it and really is more independent than she probably ever has been. And I appreciate all the things she's done for us. And happy birthday, Ginny.
Thank you, Pat.
Andy, you want to say something? Does anybody else have something? Oh,
Here comes Mickey.
Here comes Mickey.
I remember when it wasn't that way, when they were young and their noses were running and they were whacking each other with everything. And that's the part that I remember, and that was the kids that mine grew up with too.
Can we cut this mic?
Well, I know one day or so they were getting rammy, and so we said, let's do something with them. So we had this idea, we were going to take them fishing, okay? And the only thing to do that really would be a treat, we thought, was to take them up to the Poconos where they had these fish farms, okay? So we put the 3 boys and my son in the back of the truck. Jenny was driving. got them up to the Poconos, and oh, those fish were beautiful. They're just filled with this small. And the kids had a ball. They had an absolute ball, but it was getting expensive. We said, we got to stop them, they're buying, getting too many fish. And so we said, we give them 10 more minutes. Okay, and that was it. So they got, okay, they were satisfied, but then it was also costly to take and clean the fish. We said, we can't afford that, okay? So we were going to take them down someplace to clean their fish. And I guess it was about a half an hour or so. This is how I remember it. So we took them down to a little stream, and they gutted them, and they did whatever they were doing, and then they put them on their stringers, and they looked beautiful. And it was the 4 kids, big streamers, looked terrific, because we said, let's take some pictures, hop in the truck, and we're going to go home. We're just finishing up that, and they were getting in with the streamers, and then this big truck, or not big, came, screeched to a halt, backed up. And by that time, we got the kids pretty much going. We're going out of this here little stream, and these 2 guys said to Jenny, "Hey, lady, what'd you use?" And she said, "Liver and worms." And she closed the window, and we wondered how long they were down there, still looking for their fish. But we had so many beautiful times. We really did. I think she's just a super, super woman. And that's about all I can say of her. But it's super.
Gina, you gotta have a story.
I have plenty of stories.
Any you want to share?
None of them are clean. No, I have a good one.
Remember, I have 2
I remember Roy with a crab in his mouth.
Just turn the handle. Thank you.
Every day.
And I guess it was to get rid of it. Because you never left. The goblins will get you if you don't watch out. I don't know the whole poem. Do you remember the poem?
Come to our house to stay. To wash and dry the dishes and to brighten the crumbs away.
Here, say it, Jenny.
Oh, I don't remember all, but the goblins will get you if you don't watch
That's all I
out.
remember. That's all I remember. And how your little girl was hemming and hawing for her parents.
Yeah.
And he snipped
But
her
it's one that
chin.
covers up, they wasn't there at all. The goblins
But I
will
just
get you
wanted
if
to
you don't
say,
watch out.
a large portion of my life has been spent with Mrs. Silcox. I don't call her Jim. I call her Mrs. Silcox.
So do I.
I'll tell you, she's gotten me through my worst times, my best times, and I don't know where I'd be without her. Happy birthday, God bless you.
Thank you, Jenny.
You don't watch out.
Now, I'm going to warn you, I might not get this microphone back.
I'm not going to even use a microphone. Couple quick tidbits, but piggybacking on Gina's poem there. Remember the "Give me a house by the side of the road, a jug of wine, a hank of hair, and thou." It's always one of her favorites. Made her laugh.
Hey, these were teenagers when him and Jeff were going out. My sister was up from Illinois. We had a jug of wine. They never made it out that night. We had them so bombed, we drank them under the table.
Let me tell you something, there's never a table you can drink this under.
Oh.
But free wine? I mean, come on.
But 2 quick stories how Ginny saved my life twice. First time was when I met the Silcoxes. First, Jeff and I played baseball together when we were 9, 10. And
Mr. Trapp was a coach in those days.
oh, that was later. A couple years passed. I went back. A buddy of mine went up the mall. He goes, "You want to go over to see Jeff Silcox?" I go, "Yeah, sure." Haven't seen him in a couple of years. So I go over there, and Mr. and Mrs. Silcox are home, and Jeff and Larry and the family pet, King. So, how do you remember King? Larry thought it would be funny, since he just met me, the sick King after me, right? I have this...
He, of course, was right.
I had a feeling about it. It was real funny. I had this 200-pound Rottweiler chasing me. Ginny's there. Get it there! Get him alone! He's doing the house! Larry, get him, get him, get him. So she saved me there, and I don't know if she knows me now, she may not have saved me, but the other time was on New Year's Eve. We always sup over
Christmas Eve.
Or Christmas Eve, right?
We only slept over because you got...
You always passed out there, right?
Actually, there's no we there. There was no we. It was him.
Oh, yeah, I sup. I usually didn't make it home the next day.
We were ahead of the, friends don't let friends drive drunk. That we kind of started that.
Well, Jerry Ann and I, that was the trouble.
Jimmy's got his whole Christmas break here.
But it was what Larry had a tradition for a couple years, and it would bring. I would be sleeping. It'd be around 10 o'clock on Christmas morning, and I'd be pretty hungover. But Larry never was. He came in one morning, and he had a chainsaw. Right.
It was his Christmas present.
And I said, all right, McKissick, I'm going to get you there. And leave him alone. Get out of here. Stop that. No, it's not funny.
Actually, it was funny.
You had it ready.
I loved every Christmas.
And you got out of the house and went over to broke out on Galloway.
Boy, that was the one time I bought her a Christmas present over. It was a bottle of Bailey's.
Almost empty.
Hey, it was a long drive from Street Road to our house.
I was at my girlfriend's house that night, and we ran out of drinks, so I go, well, I got Mrs. Silcox a bottle. I'll have one or two from that. So we drank, I drank like half the bottle, and we brought it, I gave it to Mrs. Silcox, and I go, look, she goes, oh, it's the thought, and so on. Later that night, my girlfriend came up and punched me in the stomach.
Well, you had your arm around Jerry Ann and me were singing
That's right.
Christmas carols.
Actually, I was going around Aunt Pat and Jerry Ann singing Christmas
His
carols.
girlfriend wasn't happy. She came over and gave him a...
Elbow
Jerry
me
Ann,
in the
you want to
gut.
tell that story.
And I took her home.
Welcome to Jerry Ann.
I don't do it. I don't do it.
But I rented a Cadillac. That was a big shot. I rented the Cadillac for because my car. I always had a bad car.
You sold your sister.
Yeah.
When you had a flat tire, you stopped us because there was no chance.
So I'm driving home. It's like 2 o'clock. I'm driving home to my family on Christmas morning, afternoon. They get a call from me. The Cadillac had died. It's in the middle of Galloway Road. She come pick me up. So she comes and picks me up and drove me home. Left the Cadillac there. Called the rental company, and I guess they picked it up on the 26th.
Okay, you can tell them the flat tire joke, Jeff.
Yeah, well, just to give you a reference of Jimmy, once in a while we'd occasion this bar. They serve adult beverages.
Friday night. Every Friday.
Well, one particular cold February rainy night, Jimmy and I actually stayed here rather late. I guess we had a good conversation going with someone, probably debating issues of the day.
Sure.
Well, as Jimmy left right out of the parking lot ahead of me, and I turned to follow him, and there on the side of the road, broken down in her Renault Alliance, is Jimmy's sister. So I pull over. In about 4 or 5 minutes, there's 8 or 10 guys, and we quickly realized there's no jack, so we lift the car up. Somebody had a milk crate, and we changed the tire, and away she goes. So the next morning when I got up about 3 in the afternoon, I called Jimmy and said, hey, how did you go home last night? He's like, well, I always do. I made it right out of the 94th Air Squadron, and there I went. I said, well, I'm curious. I come down, and there's Kellyanne with a flat tire. Why didn't you stop? He's like, I saw her to the car. I knew she didn't have a jack.
Windy that day, and Aunt Jen's wig flew off and started tumbling down the amusement park. She's like, stop that wig! And held until someone tread on it and stopped it. She never picked it up, shook it off, and put it back.
Hey, Alan, you remember Jeff yelled snake down at the amusement park with you? Remember the amusement park in Local Channel and he yelled snake? We didn't know you were afraid of snakes.
I didn't ask permission from my sister to tell it anyway, but I was excited to when we all used to go to the beach together, all the families and stuff. Now, Aunt Jim was great for getting us out of trouble, but we're not so sure who helped get us in trouble sometimes. Mom,
Larry.
one night where all the girls and Aunt Jim were on the beach, and Mom says Aunt Jim used to sneak us out, but I don't remember that. And we're on the beach, and there's a sign we wanted. I don't know if that was the night or not, but we got the sign. Anyway, we're being a little rowdy on the beach, and somehow Aunt Jane got sand on her hands or something and went run into the water.
Long Beach Island, I'm used to South Jersey. I didn't know what Long Beach Island does to the beach.
Yeah, the waves had come in and cut out some of the beach, and there was like a 2-foot drop. So Aunt Jane went running down to wash off her hands.
That's one of the oceans in Rotten Egg or something. I was first.
Yeah, so she hit that drop and went plop. And she figured, well, I'm wet anyway, might as well go swimming, so she's having a good time. And it's dark out, and we're all on the beach and everything. So next thing you know, we're done or whatever, just talking, and here comes the beach patrol guys, or cops, or whatever they were. The neighbors were complaining about a lot of noise on the beach. Never noticed Aunt Jin soaking wet with all these girls, and she said, you know, there was a bunch of guys that just came by here, went up that way, and I'm like, oh, thanks, well, watch out, you know. We went back to the house. She was so just like, you know, coming the other way. They never noticed she was soaking wet.
I'll tell you a story on a Halloween night.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy would remember this. They were over Diane Rayford's throwing eggs at cars. Well, I went out looking for Jim to bring him home. I had Chuck Bensdale and football jump.
I was a member of the safety patrol. I was actually trying to break it up.
I get them in to Diane Rayford, I'm taking them home. We're walking back over to the cop stop. I said, it's okay, officer, I'm the mother, they with me. So we got away. I think the rest of them had to go in the car and disappear from the cops.
You keep thinking that, Mom.
Breeding in my breezeway. I had this beast, and his wings fluttered.
Like a
And he
chuck.
kept saying it.
What a junk ducks.
Was it a duck or was it?
It was a mallard duck.
Oh, well, what?
And you gave it to
It was Earl. It was Earl.
No, Eddie Turtel took it over, he's gonna cook it. Freddie knows that story. 'Cause he said,
Hey, it's our story. If you want to add a rebuttal, you will be given equal time.
Freddie saved the duck.
Yeah, and I overnight tell Bob, oh, we must on the phone. Of course, Bob has a sidekick, right? And they got their heads together.
Put the mic up so they can hear.
And I didn't realize that Bob and Eddie got together. And Bob comes back with Eddie, and I said, what are you going to do with the duck? Because he's got the duck under his arm, right? And of course, Jimmy comes down looking for Eddie and Bob. They're up at Turtel's, and here's Jenny. When she gets nervous, here's Jenny. And I was waiting for the sweater to come unraveled. You can pull on it so fast. And I said, she said, well, where's the duck? I said, oh. I said, I think he's down in a pot. I said, Bob and Eddie put him down. And I said, they were going to put him in a pot and cook, make chicken. And Jenny flew down like a bat out of hell. Boom. And she was so shook up. Of all people would be Eddie and Bob to sit with her to calm her nerves.
I had to save the duck. I think Freddie saved it.
They weren't drinking nothing.
Well, what did it? Eddie's wife said she'd killed him, but she wasn't going to kill it and pick it.
Or the duck would have been dead. You were lucky.
Yeah.
And did you?
How do you think the duck felt?
So remember when we went down on the beach, you must have known. Because this little girl said that she was down on that beach with you. So you must have played a trick on me because I said, I don't want to go down on the beach.
I said, it's too spooky. Oh, come on, you're safe. And I said, I'm not going down here, it's too spooky. And I turn around, and here comes two cops.
That's who sent the cops down.
Ginny and I have been sister-in-laws for...
Well, we're friends in spite of it.
We had 6 or 7 other sister-in-laws, so we were friends anyway. But the beginning of that other story, when you had to rescue the Rayford kids, do you remember the beginning of that day? The beginning of that day, I was home and I kept my son Jim home because he had a sore throat. And I let him go out and make something in the garage. He had some walnut, remember? And he was making slices of the walnut. And suddenly I heard the machine stop. And I thought, oh my God, you know. So I went out and he had cut his 4 tops of his fingers off. So before I could even do anything with Jimmy, I went in and I dialed, Ginny, Ginny.
You ever go to the emergency room in your nightgown? I have.
My story. Just wrap it up and take him up to the hospital. So I wrapped his fingers and everything, and by the time she said, I have to get dressed, and as soon as I take my clothes out, I'll be up to the hospital. Well, I wrapped Jimmy's fingers and whatnot. I run out into the driveway to get in the car. There's Ginny. She's already there. Bathrobe, nightgown, and remember those big curlers we used to all over.
They saved his fingers.
So I went up to, so she drove us, and she said, well, I won't get out. So I said, okay. So I went in to the hospital with Jimmy, and we're standing there, and I gave the information, and suddenly I hear this voice, he wasn't born then, I gave the wrong birth date, and she corrected me. Nightgowns, pajamas, and curlers. So that was the beginning of the day of Halloween when we lost the Rayford kids. And my kids' tomatoes, the cop car, the cop called me.
Hey, Johnny, I got a story on you. Remember you ate the police car from my lawn?
My mom was very good at teaching.
Guess who hit his dog box? He let the dog loose and crawled the dog. He let the dog loose and crawled the dog box. He figured the cops would look for him. And then he started I had an extra lot. It was a great place for the kids to come over. He ate the car, but it was a police car.
Give it for your eggs. Your chicken coop.
Oh, the chicken.
Remember Michael?
Oh, God, I remember Michael.
You know, when you hear these stories, you know why Betty lives in Illinois and I live in New Jersey. And we kept our kids as far away as we could, at least for the impressionable years. Adventures of Gin, it was called. Virginia and her wigs were really great because she had, remember Merv wanted you to have blonde hair. And her hair was kind of damaged pretty bad from all the bleaching.
Naturally blonde.
She had wigs she wore. She had her wigs she wore in the day, she wore it at night, and then she had one she wore to bed. but whenever, so the highlight was when you went over there, everybody got to wear a wig of some kind. Remember, our kids, I have pictures of them looking weird. I looked a little bit like Phyllis Diller.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Eagles or the Eagles.
Oh, and you had to come to your
Okay.
house to see the flyers? You know Mr. Trapp?
Yes. Yeah. My first date.
Actually,
was married.
he was going out with your daughter at the time King bit him.
That's
and I think that led
Right, I think it's all coming back.
I mean, we call you Aunt Mary and Uncle Bob, so we figured it was our job to protect your child.
I think Mrs. Trapp made the call to Larry and set King in action. Or
Sarah, you're okay.
Hey, I didn't like it.
Mrs. Silcox knows more about sports than any woman, trivia, whatever. But I always remember Leon Stickle, who I think it's Sickle or Stickle. I was never a big hockey fan until later on. But she yelled and cursed at this guy, Sickle.
We're out the Flyers of a Stanley Cup.
And every time I think of hockey, I think of Sickle and you yelling at him.
What Super Bowl Sunday, Jimmy was coming around the Super Bowl with everybody. So we put a chair in the front lawn, put a tablecloth over a bush, gave him a pair of binoculars and shot him outside.
I got pictures.
They let me in at halftime.
Seating was a premium that day, actually. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jenny.
Hold on to Grandma. I want to show you the cake, Jenny. Watch your toes, no driving.
The gang's all here. What the hell are we? Come on, lift the roof.
Right here, Joanne.
The gang's all here.
Jeffrey, get Sarah up. Happy
Where, on Grandma?
The other leg. Do you mind if I
Okay,
put
you wanna
Sarah
go, Grandma?
No. Can you help me, Em? Cammy, can you help Grandma? Thank you.
Shall we go?
Good girl, thank you. Is that what I'm questioning?
No, recording. Oh, God. First, the wedding of Jenny and Jackson. And this is in the church. Okay, now hold it. Now, zoom in.